The cafe corner holds a small warmth this late afternoon, chairs slightly angled as if they remember the last person who leaned back for a moment. A cup sits between your hands, and beneath the table your feet rest against the cool floor tiles, steady and quiet. Outside the window, someone walks past with a bag of laundry folded loosely over one arm, sunlight catching on the pale fabric before it slips from view. On your phone, the numbers beneath a post glow softly, social media views rising and settling as if they have their own small breath. There is nothing urgent here. The air feels ordinary, carrying the faint scent of coffee and the distant hum of people finishing their day, and your thumb pauses over the screen without deciding anything. You notice how the chill from the tiles travels upward, how your shoulders drop a little without being told. Across the room, a barista wipes the counter in slow circles, and the day seems to lower its voice. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The laundromat across the street hums in a steady rhythm, round doors turning with quiet determination while someone waits with a basket resting against their knee. Inside your cup, the coffee has cooled slightly, and your phone lights up again with another small cluster of views gathering under the same image. The screen reflects faintly in the cafe window, overlapping with the soft blur of passing cars and the folded clothes shifting in the washer. You glance at the numbers without leaning forward. A few more appear. The coolness from the floor tiles presses gently against your soles, grounding you in a way the glowing screen cannot quite manage. At the table beside you, a parent smooths out a child's shirt that has slipped from its place, fingers pressing along the fabric as if to reassure it back into shape. Somewhere near the counter, a spoon taps the edge of a glass, then settles. The laundromat door opens, and a draft of outside air carries the faint scent of detergent into this corner before the door swings back. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. There was a time when each new notification pulled your shoulders tighter, as if the rise and fall of those numbers held a hidden verdict about the day. The phone would warm quickly in your palm, and your thumb would keep scrolling long after the coffee had gone cold. Even now, the habit lingers in the way your eyes drift down to check the screen's glow at the edge of your vision. But the cafe corner remains unchanged, chairs scraping lightly against tile, someone folding a sweater carefully before placing it into a bag. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. A stack of freshly washed shirts emerges from the laundromat, white and pale blue against the late light, sleeves hanging in soft surrender. The person carrying them pauses on the sidewalk, adjusting the weight with both hands, not rushing the small imbalance. Your phone vibrates faintly once more on the wooden table, a new comment perhaps, or another quiet tally added to the visible count. The cool tile beneath your feet reminds you of its presence again, patient and steady. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. There is something unremarkable about the way clothes are folded, corners aligned without ceremony, each crease smoothed by hands that have done this many evenings before. The fabric holds the warmth of the dryer for a moment, then slowly returns to room temperature, as if accepting the ordinary air. Across from you, someone tucks their phone into a pocket and simply looks out the window, not checking what may have changed in the last minute. The numbers on your own screen hover, neither rising nor falling dramatically, just existing in their small frame. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. Outside, a bus passes and the reflection of its windows briefly covers the laundromat door, turning the scene into a moving collage of light and fabric. The cafe's overhead lamps flicker on one by one as afternoon leans toward evening, though the brightness remains soft and unassuming. The phone rests face up beside your cup, the social media page still open, waiting without asking anything more. The floor tiles stay cool, unchanged by how many steps cross them. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The cafe grows a little quieter as the light outside shifts from gold to a softer gray, and the laundromat's round windows continue their steady turning without ceremony. A basket of clean clothes now rests on a wooden bench near the door, shirts folded in uneven stacks, a sleeve slipping slightly over the edge. Your phone lies beside the cup, the social media page still open, views settled into a number that no longer changes every second. The cool floor tiles press gently upward through the soles of your shoes, reminding you of something solid and unmoving beneath all the scrolling. Someone laughs near the counter. It is a brief, unplanned sound, then it dissolves into the low murmur of conversation and the hiss of steaming milk. Across the street, the laundromat door opens again, and a person steps out carrying a single warm towel draped over their arm, pressing it briefly to their cheek before folding it in half. The air carries a faint trace of detergent that mingles with coffee and the late-day breeze slipping in when the cafe door swings open. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The numbers under your post have slowed, as if they too are preparing to go home for the evening. They remain visible, a small square of proof that something was seen somewhere, but they no longer pull your attention with the same insistence. A child at the next table drops a sock from the pile of freshly washed clothes, and a parent bends to pick it up, smoothing the fabric with a thumb before placing it back into the stack. The floor tiles feel cool and patient beneath the shifting of feet. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. There is a kind of rhythm in the folding of laundry that does not hurry itself, even when the day has been full. Corners are matched without argument, collars straightened without commentary, each piece laid flat as if given a brief moment of recognition before being tucked away. Your thumb hovers over the phone screen once more, then rests against the edge of the table instead, tracing a faint groove in the wood. Outside, a cyclist passes, wheels cutting a soft line through the fading light. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The cafe's overhead lamps cast a gentle glow now, not bright enough to command attention, only enough to hold the space steady. In the laundromat, a final load slows to a stop, the drum turning once, then twice, before settling into stillness. The basket on the bench is lifted and carried away, fabric swaying slightly with each step toward home. Your phone remains where it is, the social media numbers unchanged for the past few minutes, resting quietly on the table's surface. The coolness of the tiles continues, unchanged by the passing of people and light. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. By the time you step out of the cafe corner, evening has thinned the air, and the street feels wider than it did an hour ago. The laundromat lights glow from inside, rows of folded clothes now stacked neatly on a narrow counter, waiting for hands to carry them home. Your phone rests loosely in your palm, the social media page still open, view steady and unremarkable beneath the last image you shared. The sidewalk holds the day's remaining warmth, but through your shoes you can still sense the earlier coolness of tile lingering in memory. The door closes behind you. At home, a small lamp near the hallway casts a soft circle onto the floor, and a laundry basket waits at the edge of the living room rug. You set your bag down and lift one shirt from the pile, smoothing the fabric between your fingers before folding it in half, then again. The phone lights briefly with another notification, a faint reminder that the world beyond this room continues to measure and respond. The quiet inside the house does not react to it. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The folded clothes begin to form a tidy stack on the arm of the sofa, sleeves aligned, collars resting against one another without complaint. Each piece carries a faint trace of warmth from the dryer, now fading into the steady air of the room. Your phone remains on the coffee table, screen dim but not dark, the numbers beneath your post unchanged from the moment you left the cafe. Somewhere in the kitchen, a refrigerator hums softly, blending into the kind of silence that does not demand attention. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. There is a pause between each fold, a small space where nothing is required except the next simple movement. You notice how your shoulders no longer tighten when the screen glows at the edge of your vision, how the rise in views has lost its sharp edge. The cool floor tiles in the kitchen brush against your bare feet as you carry another stack of clothes toward a waiting drawer. The drawer slides open without resistance, and the fabric settles into its place as if it has always belonged there. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The room feels smaller in the evening, not cramped, but held together by lamplight and the quiet arrangement of familiar objects. Your phone finally goes dark on the table, the social media page hidden beneath a black screen that reflects only the faint outline of the lamp. In the corner, the last unfolded shirt rests alone, its sleeve slightly creased from the day's wear. You pick it up, press the fabric once more between your palms, and fold it carefully into the waiting stack. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The house settles into its evening shape without announcing it, walls holding the faint warmth left from the day. In the kitchen, a small pile of unfolded laundry waits near the chair, fabric edges catching the lamplight in quiet lines. Your phone rests nearby on the table, the social media page still open, the number of views unchanged for long enough that it no longer feels alive. Beneath your bare feet, the floor tiles are cool again, carrying a steady chill that does not shift with each step. Somewhere, a cupboard door clicks shut. You lift another shirt from the basket, thumb brushing along the seam before folding it inward with an ease that comes from repetition. The fabric makes a soft whisper as it moves, a small sound that fills the room more honestly than any notification tone. The phone screen glows once, briefly, then dims on its own, as if it, too, has grown tired of announcing itself. The stack of folded clothes grows by one careful layer. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. In the living room, the lamp casts a narrow pool of light that stops just short of the hallway, leaving the rest of the house in gentle shadow. A pair of socks slips from the top of the pile, landing softly against the cool tile before you bend to pick them up. Your fingers press the fabric flat, smoothing a wrinkle that no one else would notice. On the table, the phone remains still, the social media numbers paused in their quiet frame, neither rising nor falling in any dramatic way. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. There was a time when evenings felt like extensions of the day's noise, screens following you from room to room, the glow never fully dimmed. Tonight, the light seems contained, held within the edges of the lamp and the pale reflection on the window. The basket grows lighter as each folded piece finds its place, the room gradually reclaiming its open spaces. The coolness of the tile stays steady beneath your steps, unbothered by how many times you cross the kitchen and back. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. In the corner of the sofa, one last towel remains unfolded, thicker than the rest, carrying the faint scent of detergent and warmth from earlier. You lift it with both hands, feeling its weight before folding it into thirds, then setting it gently on top of the stack. The phone screen has gone completely dark now, reflecting only the soft outline of the lamp and a portion of the ceiling above. The numbers behind the black glass are still there, but they no longer occupy the room. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The night deepens without drawing attention to itself, and the rooms grow quieter in a way that feels earned rather than sudden. In the kitchen, only one chair remains slightly pulled out from the table, a small sign that the day has not been entirely put away. The last few pieces of laundry rest in a modest stack beside it, edges aligned but not perfectly squared. Your phone lies face up near the folded clothes, the social media page still open though the screen has dimmed to a softer glow. The tiles beneath your feet stay cool. You lift a thin sweater from the basket and shake it once before folding it inward, sleeves crossing like arms that have come to rest. The fabric brushes against your skin, a quiet reminder of ordinary touch that asks nothing in return. The phone brightens for a moment as another view appears, then settles back into stillness, its small update absorbed by the dark room. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. There is a calm in the repetition of this movement, in the simple act of matching corners and smoothing seams. The numbers on the screen no longer carry the weight they once did, hovering instead as a faint detail at the edge of the table. From the hallway, a draft slips across the floor, brushing the tiles and cooling the room just a little more. The sweater joins the growing stack, and your hands pause before reaching for the next piece. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The lamp in the living room casts a narrow, golden circle that does not try to fill the entire space, only enough to hold what is near. Beyond that circle, the house fades into a soft outline, doors closed, curtains drawn, the outside world reduced to distant and unremarkable motion. Your phone remains where it is, screen lit but unattended, the social media account resting in its small frame. The final shirt from the basket waits patiently for your hands. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. When you lift the last shirt, the basket becomes visibly lighter, its bottom finally revealed after a long day of carrying fabric and small responsibilities. You fold the shirt slowly, pressing along the collar and smoothing a crease near the hem before placing it neatly on top of the stack. The phone screen dims again, no longer competing with the lamplight that warms the edge of the table. The cool tiles, the folded clothes, the quiet room remain unchanged by what flickers behind the glass. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The house is quieter now, not because every sound has vanished, but because each one has found its place. In the bedroom, a small lamp casts a dim yellow circle against the wall, just enough to soften the edges of the room. A folded stack of clothes rests on the dresser, sleeves aligned in patient layers, waiting for morning to give them purpose again. Your phone sits on the nightstand, the social media page still open, its screen faintly glowing in the low light. The air feels thin and steady. You sit on the edge of the bed, the coolness of the floor tiles slipping under your feet one last time before you draw them onto the rug. The room holds the faint scent of clean fabric, detergent softened by the warmth of lamplight and the slow settling of night. The numbers beneath your post have not changed for a while, suspended in their quiet square as if the world beyond this room has also grown tired. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. From the window, distant streetlights blur into soft halos, their glow barely reaching the curtains. Somewhere outside, a car passes without urgency, its sound thinning as it moves farther away. The phone remains untouched beside you, screen dim but present, social media views resting in place without announcing themselves. The folded clothes on the dresser cast small shadows, edges meeting gently in the lamplight. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. There is a different rhythm to this hour, slower than the afternoon cafe, slower than the steady turning of the laundromat drums. The coolness of the tiles is now only a memory beneath the rug, replaced by the quiet warmth of the room's still air. Your phone's glow fades further, nearly blending into the dark wood of the nightstand, as if it understands that nothing more is required tonight. The house no longer waits for anything. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. On the dresser, a single sleeve has slipped slightly from the stack, a small imperfection that does not disturb the calm. You rise to adjust it, smoothing the fabric once with the flat of your hand before letting it rest as it wishes. The phone screen finally goes dark, social media numbers hidden behind a quiet black surface that reflects only the faint outline of the lamp. The room does not change when the light disappears. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest. The lamp is turned lower until its light barely reaches the corner of the room, leaving only a soft outline of the folded clothes on the dresser. The air rests lightly against the walls, untroubled by what has passed through the day. Your phone lies still on the nightstand, screen dark, social media numbers hidden behind the quiet surface of glass. Nothing asks to be checked. The coolness that once pressed up from the floor has softened into the rug beneath your feet, and the house carries a steady, almost invisible warmth. Outside, a distant car moves through the street and fades, leaving the night undisturbed. The stack of folded fabric waits without urgency, sleeves touching gently as if in agreement. You reach toward the lamp and pause for a moment, not to consider anything, only to feel the stillness that has gathered here. The room holds it without effort. You lean back into the chair and let a quiet breath leave your chest.